Hey, it's Sigrun with the Universal Pagan Temple, and I'm here with another video, and I'm deciding to cover a bit more of the history of these Christian moral crisis issues, whether it be the burning times, the Malleus Maleficorum, or the Satanic Panic. So we're looking at the Satanic Panic today, which is a bit more in recent history, but it's actually kind of peppered itself throughout the past 40 years, and you can even see hints of it still today. You know, this moral panic, Satanic Panic kind of turned into QAnon, even, funny enough, and we're seeing it in, the book that I'm going to be covering this weekend, Pagan Threat. We're seeing it more and more, so we're seeing the Satanic Panic 2.0 of Christians misconstruing something that they're not willing to fully understand completely. Now, for a bit of context, almost everyone involved or that was accused of being a Satanist during the Satanic Panic in the 80s was either falsely accused or acquitted. I mean, it caused a lot of trials that just didn't have any evidence to support the claims. And it actually wasted a whole bunch of time and money in the court systems. It was absolutely terrible. And it was a widespread hysteria over heresy, in the United States, the UK, Canada, and it kind of spread to other countries as well, between 1980 or kind of 1979 to the mid-90s. And it was founded on fears, of satanic worship. And it started to extend to anybody that was seen as a nonconformist, teenagers that were listening to heavy metal, playing Dungeons and Dragons, dressing in goth or punk fashion, being into alternative religions at the time would have, alternative religions, I don't like using that word, that's the word everybody else uses for us, but paganism, Wicca, witchcraft. If you've read any of the witchcraft books that came out in the 70s and 80s, say like the Big Blue, Raymond Buckland's witchcraft book, it goes into detail about how Wicca isn't satanic. And this is a sign of the times that it was written in to, dispel that assumption about witches then. Now, one of the most insidious things that came out of the Satanic Panic was the victims that were utilized to support these claims of Satanism were children, and they were manipulated into saying that they witnessed satanic rituals and that they had satanic rituals done upon them by, these questioning parents or, other older people, adults, with leading questions. And during this impressionable age, they wanted to make the adults in the room happy. Also, Child Protective Services were utilized in the US and the UK. I haven't heard anything about Canada, but they were told to look for signs of ritual abuse in children, and apparently it got as bad as children were taken by Child Protective Services in these countries and never returned to the parents because the parents didn't have enough money to fight it in court. A lot of the people that were subjugated under the Satanic Panic were, middle class, working class, people that didn't have enough money to fight things in court. And they ended up being raised in the foster care system, on unfounded accusations of Satanism. Daycare workers were also accused of being Satanists during this time, and their entire lives, careers were ruined by such accusations. even people with mental illnesses, they were being accused of being Satanists, and they were being led on, as like the children were, by leading questions, being manipulated into having a false memory of these satanic rituals. It's really so evil and manipulative and shocking that this happened, 40 years ago. It hasn't been that long. And when news of Satanic Panic came into a town, they would usually target the kind of social outcasts in the town. Like I said, anybody who was alternative, a bit weird, that liked to play D&D, liked horror movies, liked heavy metal, liked punk rock, maybe even dressed goth at the time, because remember, this lasted into the 90s as well. And I got a little bit of this on the tail end when I was growing up. That's really, a lot of my religious trauma that I've had to get over, but now I'm educating others on what happened, is that when this happened, I was too young. I didn't know what was going on. I was being targeted for being weird, being different, peculiar girl that was hyper fixated on certain topics. I would get comments from other Christian parents around me, not my mother, but these snide little jabs, comments of, you should take her to church, she's not right, that sort of thing. A bit of more history on this, the early 80s, this started to build up with several suicides revolving around D&D, Dungeons and Dragons players, and the mothers of these players blaming the game, which was very unfortunate that they took it out on the game instead of looking into maybe my child had a mental illness and they were needing help and we didn't see it. No, they're blaming a board game. And this was built up by evangelical Christians at the time. And then even coming to a head in 1987 or 1988, Geraldo Rivera came out with a special, Devil Worship Exposing Satan's Underground, got 2 million views, but later he had to come out in I think 94 or 95 and apologize for that, because he realized how many people got hurt over that. And, he was chasing ratings. But, cases involved with the Satanic Panic were numerous. And like I said, a lot of them failed in court completely. Like the McMartin Preschool, 7 teachers accused of underground satanic rituals, abusing 360 plus kids, including flying witches and goat sacrifices. All charges dropped. The case lasted from 1986 to 1990. No evidence found, and this sparked copycat hysteria nationwide. The West Memphis 3 in 1993, Arkansas teens were convicted of ritual murder based on occult fears, black clothes, Metallica tapes. I'm a huge Metallica fan, by the way. So they were exonerated in 2011 after DNA evidence, and they served 18 years in Frankfurt, Germany. And then the 80s, similar daycare panics with 200 plus victims alleging abuse, massive acquittals, highlighting, the spread across the Atlantic, with the UK, Ireland, and even into mainland Europe. The impact was 12,000 unsubstantiated claims of ritual abuse, 100 plus convictions overturned, and it traumatized a lot of people and cost, like I said, millions and millions and millions in legal fees, and stigmatized mental health therapy. And it also, created a fear around coming out of anything, different, because not only were people who had nothing to do with Satanism accused of being satanic, but a lot of people, who practice witchcraft were Wiccan, Pagan, were accused. Of course, we're easy outs for these evangelicals, but also gay people. And at the same time, in the 80s during the HIV/AIDS emerging, just absolutely terrible at the same time. This was rooted in a lot of anxieties left over from the Cold War. As the Cold War is wrapping up during this time, Reagan era conservatism backlash to, kind of the hippie era of the 1960s, 1970s, is, a whiplash to that. And now we see it with the QAnon, their unsubstantiated claims. And in my comment sections, over the years, I've gotten a lot of accusations of being some sort of New World Order witch, Satanist. I've even been accused of cannibalism at one point, and that's just utterly ridiculous. But this is the kind of fear that we get the backlash of as pagans. And it's like, with the way the political climate is right now, we're getting more of it, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm at this point not going to be keeping quiet about it. I'm going to be speaking up about it, and I'm just done with the ignorance and the lies told about paganism. It needs to be seen as a respectable faith. And, if Christians want to target somebody, maybe they should target themselves and look inward instead of looking for the enemy outward. Now, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, blessed be.